43-year-old murder conviction. October verdict acquitted him. A blot on US justice system. Now his deportation is halted. This is a story of 4 decades of Indians' wrongful arrest.
Well, imagine being wrongfully imprisoned in a foreign land enduring one of the longest wrongful imprisonments in US history. Imagine having a loving family, a future to look towards, and then losing it all in one go. It's not an imaginary story, it's the story of a 64-year-old Indian origin man, Subramanyam Vedam. Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Explained with me, Vineet Malhotra. On the September of 27, 1981, in the state of Pennsylvania in the United States, 2 teenagers were collecting firewoods near the state college, found a decomposed body in a sinkhole. The body was one Tom Kinzer, who had earlier been reported as missing on the 18th of December 1980. His friend then, Subramanyam Vedam, told the police that he had not seen Kinzer since the 14th of December, 4 days ago, when they travelled to the nearby town of Lewistown. Vedam and Kinzer were friends from high school and had briefly lived together in the summer of 1980. The police combed the area where Kinzer's body was found, recovering a .25 caliber shell casing. In addition, a .25 caliber bullet was found with Kinzer's remains during the autopsy. Nearly 5 months later on, the 9th of Feb 1982, Daniel O'Connell told police that he had sold a .25 caliber handgun to Vedam about a week before Kinzer was last seen. O'Connell said that Vedam had fired the weapon behind a Wendy's in State College. Police searched the area near the restaurant and found a shell casing and a bullet. These items, along with the evidence found in the woods, were sent to the FBI's crime laboratory and analyzed by Agent William Albrecht. Police charged Vedam with first-degree murder on the 28th of June 1982. At the time, Vedam was already in the Center County Jail, facing unrelated charges of theft and drug possession. Prosecutors alleged that he had fatally shot his friend with a .25 caliber pistol, a weapon that was never recovered. The case against him depended primarily on circumstantial evidence, with no physical proof tying him to the killing. Despite the lack of forensic certainty, a jury convicted him in 1983 and he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Well, Subramanyam Vedam arrived in the United States with his parents when he was 9 months old. Known as Sabu by his relatives, he is a legal permanent citizen of the country. He was born in Mumbai in 1961 when his family was briefly back in India. His elder sister Saraswati was born in State College, Pennsylvania. And Saraswati is now a lead investigator of the Birthplace Lab and professor of the midwifery at University of British Columbia in Canada. Her scholarly work includes several community-based participatory action research projects on health equity in perinatal services. Subu's father, K. Vedam, was a respected physicist born in Vedaranyam, India in 1926. He first came to State College in 1956 as a postdoctoral fellow in crystallography in the physics department. He also then spent 2 years at the Atomic Energy Commission in Mumbai. His mother, Nalini Vedam, grew up in Bangalore in India and received a bachelor's in English literature from Bangalore University. She completed a master's in library science at Miranda House in Delhi University. On September 14, 1956 in Bangalore, she married Dr. K. Vedam. 10 days later, they arrived as the first couple from South India to make their home in State College. When the first call came after Subu's detention, Saraswati Vedam was in Massachusetts midway through her master's in community health education. Subu told her he had been detained and was being accused of murdering a classmate. "Don't worry," he said, "they're just trying to pressure me. It'll be okay, don't interrupt Amma and Appa's trip." It wasn't. Within hours, Saraswati drove to State College, Pennsylvania, where the family had lived since childhood. She was in disbelief as Subu was just 20 years old. When the news reached Dr. Vedam, it broke him. the man who was a respected scientist and whose name ran in every headline in the US newspapers, blamed himself for moving to America. Subbu Vedam appealed, arguing that there had been insufficient evidence to sustain the conviction and that Judge Brown had erred in allowing the state to introduce evidence of other bad acts. In January 1984, while the appeal was pending, Vedam entered a plea of no contest to 4 counts of delivering LSD and a single count of receiving stolen goods. He received a sentence of 5 to 10 years in prison. Before his case came to trial, Subbu was subjected to extensive and pervasive pre-trial publicity. Every day for months, new articles on the front page of the town's only newspaper suggested that Subbu was unable to reconcile Indian values with American values and hence had a torn psyche and uncontrollable internal rage. Before and during both trials, the judge repeatedly denied motions for discovery, expert witnesses and change of venue, as well as objections to prejudicial lines of questioning. On December 27, 1985, a 3-judge panel of the Superior Court of Pennsylvania ordered a new murder trial. The appellate court said that although the state had presented sufficient evidence of Vedam's guilt, Judge Brown's decision to allow evidence of Vedam's unrelated misconduct had been highly prejudicial. Despite the ruling, Vedam remained in prison. Although Vedam had served the minimum sentence on the theft and drug charges, the state's parole board declined to release him. Vedam's second trial in Center County began on the 22nd of February 1988. Subbu's defense team appealed the conviction on the basis of insufficient evidence, lack of change of venue, jury selection procedures, denial of expert witnesses, and more. The State Superior Court and State Supreme Court overturned the conviction, citing many trial irregularities, the fact that the judge admitted improper evidence, the failure to set bail, and the case was remanded for a new trial. Investigators fed information to witnesses throughout the course of an investigation, and the police department recorded interviews with various individuals, including others suspected of committing the murder. Neither the transcript of the recordings nor the recordings themselves were provided to the defense counsel at the time of trials or during subsequent appeals. Moreover, the suppressed recordings and transcripts reveal a troubling pattern by investigators of feeding information to witnesses rather than objectively seeking information on who actually committed Kinzer's murder. Investigators fixated on Vedam as the lone suspect and disregarded other viable leads. Inside prison, Subbu became a teacher. He created a literacy program that the Pennsylvania prison system continues to use, earned 3 degrees, including in finance, an MBA in leadership, and mentored many inmates. He stayed in prison as his parents aged, sister married, and nieces grew up. His father, K. Vedam, passed away in 2009. When Nalini Vedam passed away at 84, it marked the quiet end of a life defined by love, dignity, and unwavering loyalty to her son. Decades earlier, her younger child, Subramanyam Vedam, had been convicted of murdering his college roommate in 1983 and sentenced to life in prison without parole, a verdict he has always insisted was wrong. After her husband, Penn State physics professor K. Vedam, died in 2009, Nalini refused to leave State College for Vancouver, where her daughter lived, because she would not abandon Subbu, visiting him regularly at the state prison in Huntington and holding on to the hope that a judge might one day grant him a new trial. After serving 43 years in prison for a murder he did not commit, Subramanyam Vedam was finally free. New evidence had exonerated him earlier this month of the murder of his former roommate. In 2022, documents surfaced showing that the prosecutors who charged Subbu with the murder in 1982 had concealed extensive evidence proving his innocence. A Center County judge ordered 3 days of hearings on the new evidence exonerating Subbu, scheduled for the 7th of January 2025 and the 6th of February 2025. This was the first time in Subbu's decades of unjust imprisonment that he had an opportunity to contest his wrongful conviction in court. At the February 6th evidentiary hearing, experts, including one of the nation's leading forensic scientists, testified that the prosecution's case against Subbu unraveled when the long concealed physical evidence was taken into account. After months of waiting, in August of 2025, the judge released his ruling and he agreed. But that was not it. Subbu was set to walk free from a Pennsylvania prison on the 3rd of October after waiting more than 4 decades to clear his name, but was taken straight into immigration custody. But he was then detained at a short-term holding center in Alexandria, Louisiana, that's equipped with an airstrip for deportations. He was then transferred to central Pennsylvania. The Bureau of Immigration and Customs Enforcement is seeking to deport Vedam over his no-contest plea to charges of LSD delivery filed when he was about 20. His lawyers argue that the 4 decades he wrongly spent in prison, where he earned degrees and tutored fellow inmates, should outweigh the drug case. But finally, some relief has come now that 2 US courts have ordered immigration officials not to deport Vedam. Why Subbu was detained for 43 years is something that was not only unjustified but also is now difficult to trace back. Here was a family man who left India for opportunity into the United States and had their life turned into a tragedy due to false conviction for as much as 43 years.
43-year-old murder conviction. October verdict acquitted him. A blot on US justice system. Now his deportation is halted. This is a story of 4 decades of Indians' wrongful arrest.